You, finding life rather dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else? We offer you escape.
Escape with us now to a placid English village and the company of an equally placid little man who one day shook the world, as H.G. Wells told it in his delightful story, The Man Who Could Work Miracles.
Now, I might say right in the beginning that I ain't the kind of chap who has a naturally argumentative disposition. Oh, no, quite the contrary. I'm a reasonable man who always takes proper thought before he speaks, and one who has a due respect for scientific truth. Why, I ain't never opened my mouth to utter a word that wasn't a pure, undiluted fact.
That's what you say.
Howsoever, when a man of inferior intellect, such as Toddy Bemis has showed himself to be more than once, when a man like that insists upon airing his ridiculous opinions in a public place such as the Long Dragon Bar, then I've got no choice but to confound him with the superior knowledge which I possesses.
So you say.
That's right, so I say. And if you can't contribute nothing but the same 3 words to this discussion, I'll thank you to admit you're defeated and shut your mouth.
Well, now, Mr. Fotheringay.
Easy, lads, easy does it.
Well, I ask you, Constable. I'm only trying to enlighten the man from the bog of ignorance he's a-floundering in, and he keeps coming up with his infernal, so you say. Well, I'm a-wasting me words, that's all.
If pints of half and half flowed across this bar the way words do, then I'd have retired years ago.
Speaking of half and half, I'll have another of the same if you don't mind, Miss Bridges.
Right you are, Constable.
By all rights, Toddy Beamish, I shouldn't be wasting my time on you. But out of the goodness of my heart, I'll do it anyhow.
Suit yourself.
Now, let's take, for example, that pint of ale that you're holding in your hand.
It's pretty nigh empty.
Well, now, supposing, for instance, if that ale was to turn into wine.
I never cared much for wine. Always liked ale better.
Now, if that ale was to turn into wine, then you'd have a miracle.
So you say.
So anybody says. Or take that master padlock on Miss Bridges' cash box. Now, if anyone could open that without a proper key, that'd be a ruddy miracle.
You leave the long dragon out of this.
Well, perhaps you ain't even aware of the proper definition of what a miracle is, Mr. Beamish.
Well, some is one kind and some is another, in a manner of speaking.
If anybody left so much as tuppence on the bar as a tip, that'd be a miracle, all right.
Well, be that as it may. But a miracle ain't of one kind or another, oh no. A true miracle is something contrariwise to the course of nature, done by the power of will. Something what couldn't happen without being specially willed to happen. And miracles ain't possible.
Easy, lad, easy, no.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say they ain't.
It's your ignorance that's talking. Now, look. You see that lamp sitting there on the end of the bar, burning as bright as you please?
I see it right enough.
Well, now, that lamp in the natural course of nature couldn't burn like that if it was turned upside down and hanging in the air.
You say it couldn't.
Mr. Beamish, do you mean to tell me...
All right. Maybe it couldn't.
And if it did, that would be a miracle. Very well. Now, supposing somebody was to come along, take me, for instance, and he pointed his finger at that lamp like this and said, "Turn upside down." Now, if the...
Turning and hanging there without no visible means of support.
Oh, I can't keep it up there much longer.
Remarkable. It's highly remarkable.
Stop it now, Mr. Fotheringay. Stop it immediately. That's my official order.
Oh, look out, Constable. Look out. There it goes.
Now see what you've done, Mr. Fotheringay. My best lamp chimney, clean no more than an hour ago, smashed to smithereens.
But I didn't try to do it.
Oh, you know, you might have caught the place afire.
Most irregular. And illegal besides, like as not. No more of it now. Do you understand?
But I tell you, I didn't mean for
You
it
and
to...
your silly conjuring tricks.
But all I done was to point my finger at it like that, and I...
Stop it now. Don't you dare.
Well, that's all I've done.
In that case, Mr. Fotheringay, you defeat your own argument right out of your own mouth.
And how is that, might I ask?
If it weren't caused by some form of trickery, then what happened to that lamp was a miracle.
Now, then, I ain't to hold him with no blooming miracles.
Held with him or not, as the case may be, Mr. Fotheringay, but you just stood right there and performed a real, true, honest, genuine miracle.
It weren't a matter of being asked to leave the Long Dragon, you understand. I'd already had my mind set on going anyhow. A place what's full of ignorant superstition ain't the kind of place for a man of rational intellect to be doing his thinking in. And thinking was just what was called for. On the one hand, I wasn't ready to swallow no miracle theory, but on the other hand, I wasn't able to recollect no scientific principle that might account for that which had occurred. As you might say, the question had dissolved itself into a dilemma. Well, my landlady, Mrs. Tetherington, was sitting up in the parlour when I come in.
Good evening, Mr. Fotheringay.
But I can't recall saying anything to her.
Very well, Mr. Fotheringay.
I went straight to my own room, closed my door, and lit the candle. Then I sat on the edge of my bed, grappling with the problem in a heroic fashion and trying to puzzle out the ultimate solution. Well, now, that wasn't no easy thing to do. It couldn't have happened, but it had happened. Which ain't logic, no matter how you look at it. Why, it'd be the same situation if I was to point my finger at that candle there and say, be raised up in the air. Hey, blimey. Hanging there like a blooming firefly. But it's contrary. Whoop, there it goes. No, black as your rat. Oh, dear, now, where in the tarnation did that confounded thing get to? Well, at any rate, there should be some matches around here somewhere. Oh, here. Maybe I could... Yes. Let there be a match in me hand. Well, now. Just like that. Oh, the safety match. Not a blooming good that's going... Oh! Oh, dear, half a Mona. Maybe I don't need a match. Maybe I could... Yeah. Candle, wherever you are, be lighted. Here now, not in the middle of my bed. None of that now. Oh. Well, open it up. It isn't locked.
Mr. Fotheringay, might I inquire what's going on up here?
Can't you recognize a man who's got his hands full of troubles?
Mr. Fotheringay, why is smoke coming out of that bed?
Because it caught on fire, that's why.
My wall comforter with all burned in it. Taking lighted candles to bed with you indeed.
I'm not taking no candles nowhere, and I'll thank you to leave me the privacy of my own bedchamber.
You've been drinking.
On the contrary, I've been cogitating upon matters of science, which is far beyond the range of your feeble intellect.
Well...
Mrs. Tetherington, I might remind you that good steady rumours, such as a man like myself, ain't so easy to come by nowadays. With which I will bid you a highly, a respectful, a good night.
Well...
Well, old vulture. Don't know who she's talking to. Me. A bloke what's only got to point his finger and say, be, and it is. Oh, blimey, if I ain't suddenly got the power to perform miracles. Real, genuine miracles.
Escape, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, returns in just a moment. Tomorrow, New Year's Day, CBS will bring you exclusively the broadcast of the Rose Bowl game between the University of Michigan and the University of California. Don't miss this colorful, exciting event, the Rose Bowl game. Michigan, the Western Conference champions, against California, fighting for the West Coast's first victory in the present series. It'll be here tomorrow, New Year's Day, on most of these same CBS stations. And now, back to Escape.
Well, next evening after work, I went walking down the lane that leads around Millsdale's pond, attempting to put me mental processes into order, as you might say. Mostly, I kept trying to cogitate on some honest-to-Betsy miracle that I might up and perform. But it ain't such an easy matter for a chap who's unaccustomed to goings-on of that nature. No, what I wanted was the genuine article. You understand? No little shenanigans, but one to make people stop and say, "Blimey now, if that ain't a real downright miracle for you." And then, all of a sudden, I had it. I just happened to recollect a chap somewheres who stuck his staff in the ground and commanded it to blossom. So I poked my walking stick into the edge of the turf. I backed off a wee bit. I pointed my finger at it and said, "Walking stick, become a blooming bush of flowering posies." Roses, by heaven. I done it, just like that fellow in the opera.
Now then, what's all this here?
Oh, Constable Winch, confound that man anyhow.
Cease and desist, whatever it is, in the name of the law.
Hey, here, you there, Rosebush, go back now, fast.
Have a mind there who it is you're throwing bramble bushes at. There.
Oh, confounded, blundering idiot.
Who's conducting nefarious activities under the cover of darkness, assaulting an officer engaged in the pursuit of his natural...
Well, so it's you, Mr. Fotheringay.
The fact being self-evident, Mr. Winch, I will not bother myself to answer.
So you'll not bother yourself to answer, eh? And maybe you'll also deny that you just threw a great heavy mass of foliage at me?
I do deny it.
Then no doubt it just up and flew through the air, all by itself.
Constable Winch, you have just hit the ruddy nail right on the head.
Oh, some more of them blasted hanky-pank conjuring tricks of yours. Is that it?
On the contrary, it was merely a small miracle.
You don't say so. In which case, His Honour might enjoy hearing you tell about it. So come along.
I'll do nothing of the sort.
Oh, resisting an officer. That'll be another charge against you.
Charge, indeed. Mr. Winch, you can take your charges and go to Hades. Hey, Constable. Mr. Winch. Oh, blimey, if he ain't gone and disappeared complete like. Now, I wonder if he... Now, I'm thinking this miracle business is a bit touchy. Why, a man might find himself in a whole peck of trouble before he learns the knack of the thing. Oh, I'd better go and get myself some real professional advice right away.
Oh, good evening to you, friend. A very pleasant evening to you.
And the same to you as many of them, Mr. Maydig. That is, your reverendship.
Oh, no formality now. None at all. You just call me Mr. Maydig.
Oh, well, now, thank you kindly, your Maydigship.
Won't you step inside?
I'm much obliged to you, Mr. Reverendship.
This way, Mr... I can't say that I caught the name.
Fotheringay. George W. Fotheringay.
Yes. Not from my parish.
Well, yes, I attended services last Christmas.
Indeed. So many people did last Christmas. Well, here we are, Mr. Fotheringay. Take a chair.
It's a Fotheringay.
Oh, no, not that one. I mean, it's weak. I've often thought of doing something about it. sometime. Yes, that one's fine.
Well, if you remind me